Yeah, and so a terrified Great Dane keeping up with, a
6'5" male, a white male.
Shaggy. He's faster than Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Are we
Be a solid
recording?
race. Who knows though? He's
okay.
also not real at all.
Yeah, it's also a cartoon, so that's not even really. Right. But technically, Shaggy is the fastest man alive.
That's true. I don't argue that.
Okay.
He's real to me.
So,
what's up?
I'm Santiago Ramones. Hello, and again, welcome to Bit Depth. I sort of did that out of order.
All right.
This is Grayson, and I'm sorry.
My name is Walter Blythe.
All right.
And I'm Grayson Ham.
Cool. What do y'all do?
What do we do, Walt?
Well, we have a dog, and we spend time with him pretty often.
Way too much time with the dog.
Grayson sleeps with him, I
We
don't.
cuddle hard. He's got really nasty farts, though. Nasty farts. So it's the worst alarm clock in the morning that you could possibly experience. But
it wakes you up.
it does wake me up. It does wake me up.
Not me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Walt's only sleeps in my room on Thursdays and Fridays, you know.
Yeah.
But to be more serious, I guess. We're in a band called Space4Lease. Not Space4Lease, Space4Lease.
With a 4.
Huh?
With the number 4.
Number 4, yes.
How did that... Well, for one, what do y'all play?
Well, we've kind of considered ourselves a new genre of psychedelic rock, a new generational rock, kind of for this up-and-coming generation.
Down with that.
We have a lot of different influences as a band. We all kind of come from different musical backgrounds, so we kind of hone in those influences and create a unique sound within ourselves. Here recently, we've been working on a new record, pushing to release, called High Wreath. It's something that we've all been working on. Walt has mentioned a lot. It's kind of like our platform record. This is the record. All original members. We've had a record out before, Space4Lease, but different members of the band. So this is actually the first record where I feel like us as a band is in a great spot to really kind of showcase exactly who we are as a band and the music that we really, really want to bring. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah. What does either of you play?
Oh, I play piano and I'm the lead singer.
Cool.
I play guitar, and I occasionally sing, but mainly I just talk between songs.
So I'm really bad at that.
He's actually really good at it. I just have this problem where I talk too much.
But I'm really bad.
No, I mean, it's good to have someone to vamp, because...
It's cool live though for us because we get some little interplay on stage and we say goofy stuff sometimes, but also we'll say some cool stuff. We'll say some good stuff. Grayson sings about really awesome things, and
And I think
it's good to change up the mood here and there. And I like to say some goofy stuff.
And it's like for me, it's really hard to sing serious songs. And then try to be funny after a song. You know what I mean? To attach have this emotional attachment with somebody, and then to try to change the whole mood and be super funny. That's really it's difficult for me to do that because everything that I write, and it means so much to me. So for me to sing these songs and then just to snap out of it, you know, it's not very ideal. And that's kind of where Walt kind of takes in that role of breaking the ice, you could say.
If you've ever seen any videos with Busta Rhymes, he has a really short guy on stage that is just his hype man. I like to think of myself as something like that.
Great description. Walt is the perfect hype man. For sure.
Also, Busta Rhymes gets live.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel it's one of the biggest awkward things that you have to go up on stage and just scream your heart out about feelings or whatever.
I don't think I've been in a more vulnerable position, honestly.
And ask people to pay you for it.
Yeah. And pay attention. To actually, And buy merch, yeah. Get us to the next spot, you know. But yeah, like you said, man, there's literally, for me, there's not been another point in my life where I've felt more vulnerable and just, you know, having to be myself and kind of share, you know, these experiences in the songs that I've written and all that, you know. And every night's kind of different. You don't know how people are going to take it, but and that's kind of the whole experiment in it all, you know. Yeah. But you get very... it gets exciting to see, you know, the different reactions that you get no matter where you're going. You know, we do a lot of touring.
Yeah.
We try to get out of the state as much as possible because I feel that's very important for young artists to, you know, in this day and age, you know, to travel. Get exposure. Yeah. And I think we all have that certain mentality to travel. You know, we all have that. We all like that adventure of getting out of state, getting into new experiences that we've never experienced before. And I just feel that's super important for young bands. And
what's the? All right, go ahead.
I was gonna say on a pretty real note though, being in different towns or states and cities, and even if we're on stage trying to talk to people, because that's where the basis of this question went, or you know what we were talking about. But even just like meeting people in public when we're around in the town, like trying to get across who you are and, you know, 3 sentences or less is practically impossible.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to try and convince somebody to be like, hey, we're doing this thing. We're not where you would normally see us. We know nobody here, maybe a few people, but like believe us, believe in us, and buy our things. Yeah. And it's such a hard thing to say to someone and to get it across in a way, like, because you're so vulnerable and you're so like, you know, you're in a light that is shining on you, and if you don't say the right thing at the right time, then somebody's going to be like, nah, I'm not about it.
Right. Or you could be saying all the right things at the right time, and then at one point you don't say the right thing, and that's what stands out. You know what I mean? So it's a hard line to walk sometimes, especially, I mean, trying to convince people in 3 sentences or less, especially in a bar scene at 11:30 at night. You know, when heavy booze is going on, you know, it sometimes can be a little difficult. But that's the reality, honestly. That's what I've picked up on.
I think we also do a really good job of having fun afterwards, and not like saying like going out and being crazy, but like going and meeting people and being like, let's hang out, like get to know us a little bit. And I think those people that take the time to try and do that with an artist, even if, you know, we're nobody, like, you know, we're literally not anything big. These people probably never heard of us before, but it's so cool to get to hang with people in other parts of the country and learn about where they're from and what their life's like. And then like, it's like more us trying to figure out about them than them trying to figure about us. And I think that's like the coolest part.
Because I mean, we are like, they're locals, you know, we're strangers in this area. So you would see people sit there and think like you're the artist, but at the same time, we are just normal dudes. So, I mean, casual conversation can go many places when you're meeting people like that and figuring out those certain things.
All
you know,
these towns are kind of like art in themselves, like getting to learn about the culture, the community, and stuff like that. It's cool.
But I mean, honestly, whenever you like get to hang out with people in that way, like that really is them getting to know you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and it gets them to actually care about you outside of just like, hey, I just played at the show, but like they get to know you as a person. And so that
in the most purest form, man. I mean, it's really great.
We're not going back to a fancy bus or a cool hotel or anything like that.
No, we are grinding. Literally, we are grinding. I mean, like, we camp hard, man. We don't really do the hotel thing. So, I mean, if you could imagine playing a show at 11:30, 12, getting done at 1:32, getting to your campsite at 2:33, setting up all your gear. I mean, it's
doing it all again.
It's a grind, you know. And I think a lot of young artists should know that, you know, that's kind of what it takes. And I had no idea, you know. I didn't even start writing or singing, music until I was about 17. I mean, I've always played piano, but songwriting and all these things, kind of developed later. And I didn't even play with a drummer until I got to ACM, So there was a lot of things that I've learned, especially being on the road, about just the way the industry works and, the appropriate way to operate as a band,
Yeah. And that's something that they can't teach you here.
No.
Like, they can give you so much experience, but like they can't tell you what it's like to to go on the road. And I don't know what it's like to go on the road.
Right. But it's fun. I mean, and I don't think you realize how much fun it is until you're home.
Yeah.
You know, you're out there. It's like the grass is always greener kind of thing. Where you're on the road, you're missing home. And then when you get home, you think about all the little things that happened on the road that made it so great.
Yeah.
And then you really can't wait to get back out there and do it again.
Yeah.
So.
And I think there's really no way to teach it. I think it teaches itself, and it presents itself in such a learning aspect that it's one of those things that you never know that it doesn't occur to you that you're learning while you're doing it. But it's like, it's character building, you know? You don't wear shoes and you run on concrete forever. You're going to get these fat calluses. Well, that's what happens when you're on the road.
Right.
But that's just so much fun and love and passion, and also just like the bad parts that go into it. Things like cars breaking down, tires going flat, you know, just random little things like that. But then you realize at the end of it, you're like, it made it that much better. And that's really probably the coolest part of it.
And there's really nothing else like it, man.
So what made you guys, at least at the very beginning, go, I want to make music for a living?
Man. That was something I truly didn't know I wanted to do until like I said, I was about 17, 18.
Yeah.
I was a huge sports fanatic. I love sports. You know, I grew up, my dad coached me in soccer for like 10 years, you know. Did travel teams, moved into basketball.
Yeah.
Was super focused into basketball. But being 17, 18, you kind of start maturing in these ways where you start thinking about your future and kind of what direction you want to take. And I kind of realized for me being, you know, a point guard at a 3A school and being 5'10", you know, I didn't really see a future for me in that type of way. But piano and music had always been there for me. Yeah. It was like I didn't know. It's like it knew before I did. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it was always there for me. It always made me feel a certain way that I couldn't get anywhere else. And everybody always told me, man, like you're, you know, always kind of impressed with me learning by ear. You know, I didn't really like learn traditionally like piano or any music like that. Everything was by ear. So people were really fascinated in that. And I was kind of like always, you know, tried to stay humble. Like, man, you're in a small town, all this. And, but then, you know, I started growing some confidence at 17, 18 and taking some more direction with it, you know, and really started focusing on songwriting and really decided, you know, by my senior year that that's really what I wanted to do. And I felt like it was important for me to find the right area or the right school to hone in on that. And I had looked at some different schools all over the country and literally took a tour here at ACM, you know, living an hour away from my hometown, and looked at the school one time, man. I was like, this is it. This is where I want to be. I remember telling my friends, when I really knew that this is where I want to be, I go up to the 4th floor, which is now it's a practice room, but that's where all the keyboards used to be. Yeah. Where all the pianos, like 25 different pianos. And I walked into that room with my dad, and I looked at him and I was like, this is the spot. Yeah. Like, I like this a lot. So when I saw that, I was convinced. So I think, to answer your question, you know, around that time of, you know, 17, 18, like I said, trying to figure out what your future holds. That's when I really felt like music kind of started becoming a more part of me all around. So,
and I mean, like, did you never even really see like an option of like, well, I guess I'll do sports or something, or I guess I gotta like go to business school or something, or was it always just like I have nothing else?
Yeah, like talking like music sense.
Yeah,
man. I've never. No. I've always just been like, this is it. This is what I want to do. I think being the youngest in my family, I have an older brother who's 5 years older than me, and then a sister who's 2 years older than me. And kind of saw their paths. My brother took the traditional college route, which, I mean, was a great decision for him. Yeah. My sister took the same route, and I just have always, even from being a little kid, I've always just kind of wanted to do and be something different. Yeah. So when I kind of realized that I had that craft of playing piano, really held on to that, like doing something unique, doing something that nobody else has really done. Not even really in my family, but maybe like my hometown, you know, coming from a small town, just like taking a different route, regardless of, you know, what the outcome's going to be. I really wanted to do that for myself. Really, just for myself. You know, dodging these kind of, not saying mistakes that my siblings have made, but you learn from your siblings. You know, you're a sponge being the youngest.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm the youngest of two older brothers too. Cool. So like, I
exactly
do learn from their mistakes or like, and they also kind of like take you under their wing whenever it's like, oh, I went through this before. You want to do this one.
I mean, and that makes you light years ahead, man. Yeah. I think it makes you more mature as a human being because you're sitting here. That's like, I look now and a lot of my friends from my hometown are actually my brother's friends. Yeah. You know, who are all 4 or 5 years older than me. But we all kind of connect on this level now since I'm older and have matured. Yeah. But, and I didn't see it at the time how much I was maturing and just kind of looking at the world maybe like in a different light than a lot of my friends might have been doing, you know. And at times it was kind of hard because you are kind of isolated in this area where it's like, I'm the only one doing this thing. I'm the only one at, you know, ACM, don't really know anybody. But I think that's the weird secret part we all kind of love too. It's because you are out on your own. You are doing something different. And it's sometimes a little scary, so. Yeah. But I always knew. I mean, I didn't always know, but I always felt that whatever happened, music, there was going to be something. Yeah. My career was going to have something to do with music, especially like in that older days of my high school career or whatever. So,
well, what kind of stuff were you listening to that inspired you to be a musician?
Man, weird shit. Like not things that I listened to a lot of classical music. I loved a lot of film score. Yeah. One of them that I Black Hawk Down, Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer's excellent.
Dude, I know it's weird, right? Like super weird, dude. I used to listen. I had so much film score music from all these different movies that I really listened to, and it was just like there's this emotional attachment that I found myself getting with, where it was like listening to this music, I really got inside my own head. It was like thinking about myself morally and just what I wanted to be and what kind of legacy I wanted to leave behind. Even at, you know, at 11, 12 years old, you know, these were the things I was like doing. There's this movie, We Were Soldiers, with Mel Gibson, where I remember being a little kid, and there was a certain part in that movie where there was a certain part, it's at the end of the movie where they're going over this hilltop, because they're like super outnumbered, but they don't even give a shit, you know? And but there's this great soundtrack that plays or song that plays during this scene, and I remember I'd have all my action figures with me, and I would live out the scene with my action figures while it was happening on the screen, because I loved the music so much that I wanted to create my own like reality with my toys and shit. So like there was always these weird things that were going on like with this type of music that really made me kind of fall in love with that emotional feeling of when I heard these types of songs and stuff, the feeling I would get. And that's what really like led me into playing piano, like you know, seen as like a classical instrument. And my granddad played a lot of piano and really looked up to him. So, but that, and then to completely flip that, I listened to a lot of hip hop. Yeah. A lot of hip hop. DMX, 50 Cent. I mean, all the gangster, like the gangster shit. Like, who shot you? Exactly. Yeah, Biggie. I mean, Biggie, Tupac. I mean, and that's where like kind of going back to the Athletics. Sure. Whereas like that was kind of more the influence where you were listening to that kind of stuff. So it was a weird crossover between this like classical film score music and then like this hip hop rap, because my brother listened to a lot of it. And so we had this like MP3 player that was just his, because this is way back in the day before iPods were even a thing. Yeah. And he had all this type of like hip hop and stuff on his phone or on his little MP3 player, and I would always steal it and go listen to all this music. Yeah. And so I was learning at a very young age about all these artists and mimicking them to a T. Yeah. You know, their lyrical schemes and everything. So there was at times I would get in some serious trouble, like just like if you can imagine, you know, Rough Rider DMX and just like singing every line of that, not knowing what any of it meant. And then I was singing all that, and my brother comes in and is like, dude, you can't say a lot of the things that he's saying in public. Like, you gotta be careful about that. And I'm just like, oh man, I didn't know any better. It's just like, so there's these weird scenarios that kind of introduce me to these types of styles of music. And
I think also that those two things that he just said, film scoring and hip hop, it's the exact same today. Like when we go like we were on tour once and we saw The Revenant, and all we could talk about after the movie was like, that one scene when like in between they had this crazy sound like this and we didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
And then the other night we were in Lincoln and we're showing up to the gig just like bumping some heavy Biggie Smalls. It's the exact same today, and like it's like so subconscious of us, I think, and that's just who we are. And kind of all, and I think that's what makes us as a band, and also makes us because that's what we've been doing our whole lives. So.
Yeah. What brought you to rock music?
I think it was just that
me,
right? Yeah, I would probably be doing all these like classical compositions by myself, singing these weird songs if Walt didn't come into my life. Thanks, bud. No, I think where the rock really lies, man, it's in between those two, in between the classical and the hip hop, right in the median. There's rock.
We're also not traditional, so.
Right, yeah, it's not a traditional style of rock. We have a lot of different influences that we all kind of bring to the table. But I think me as a huge inspiration for me as an artist, and this sounds so corny, I know, guys, but a huge Radiohead fan.
Radiohead's my favorite band.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I like you already, man. And what about Coldplay?
I enjoy Coldplay.
They're a little softer.
Until Viva La Vida, and then I kept getting disappointed.
It got a little more poppy after that. Yeah. I feel that. I really love their old shit too. Like Parachutes is still honestly.
Yeah.
Death Cab? You listen to Death Cab for Cutie?
I've recently dug into that.
See, I'm honestly so bad with other artists, man.
Yeah,
I don't listen to Death Cab.
Well, I mean, I think if you like older, softer Coldplay stuff, Death Cab's kind of like the sadder counterpart to that.
Sweet. Well, I'll definitely have to check them out.
I also think that Grayson has probably heard some Death Cab because I've definitely played some, but like. I give it to Grayson because it's amazing. Like I'm the kind of person that I love to just dive into this band and this record, and I've always been kind of like like people are with their favorite basketball players, the stats and stuff. But like I find it like, I mean, this doesn't need to sound weird or like anything like that, but like I love the way that he appreciates music because he's not into it like that.
Yeah.
And like, we'll say, oh, this so-and-so band. He'll be like, what are you talking about? And we'll play it. He'll be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I got you.
Sure.
We have different forms of listening, and it's So I'll back him up there. It says he's probably heard Death Cab. He probably didn't like make a bad face or anything. So
I'm just like,
yeah,
I'm in my own world a lot of the time too. I think too, man. It's like I'm always in that position of like wanting to make great music too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm thinking more along the lines of a songwriter. Like you always have your inspirations and stuff, but for me, it's like I'm always trying to make that music that everybody wants to listen to. I'm not
leave the bullshit out of it.
Leave the bullshit out of it, man. I think I'm sitting at a piano, for 5 to 6 hours maybe a day, as opposed to listening to a bunch of different records and there's nothing wrong with either one. I think it's just like where my mentality and my drive is just creating and creating and creating. That's what I love to do. There's nothing better than writing a new song and the band coming in and us performing it and all of us looking at each other like, this shit is dope. There's literally not a better feeling. It's even better than like getting in the studio. The studio kind of you get these, I wouldn't say nerves, but I mean, it's just a different scenario. But like when you're in your own house with, and just feeling more comfortable than ever and showing these songs and all of us playing together, those are the times that, that I will always cherish,
Yeah. And I mean, like there's that moment once, because there's like the hurdle of like sort of teaching everyone the song and like getting everything together.
Oh yeah.
And then once you're like, all right, and you run it, you're like, man, we made this.
Right. Yeah, and we definitely do, man, because like even, and I'll even say like, I come in with an idea. I come in with a lyric, like I'll have lyrics, I'll have a position and a direction with the song, but I love to leave things open-ended with the band. Yeah. I don't come in and say, this is how it's going to go, you know, which is how, you know, some songwriters or some lead singers or whatever the case may be might do that. Yeah. I love leaving it open for interpretation for the band, and then we kind of come together and take this direction with it that I might not have even seen. You know, it's writing it by myself, which is why I love to do that, because there are elements that all of us, you know, Walt, Wesley, Brandon, that we all contribute to, that me just doing it all by myself, I would have never seen this alleyway or this road to take. So that's one of the greatest things about the way that we do songwrite is that I think we all kind of know the position of how the song, like they know that I'm going to come in with the idea, but they also know that I'm not going to come in here and try to, you know,
micromanage
exactly.
Everything.
I'm going to leave everything open. I think that's why we do so well.
Yeah.
Because we all have these different musical backgrounds, like I've said. So I really like leaving that open too, so you can kind of bring those influences in. Into our own music, you know what I mean? As opposed to saying like, this is our genre, this is what we need to shoot for, this is the type of niche market we need to be shooting for, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean that's the essence of collaboration.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, you just said that. Yeah, you just made everything I say sound way simpler.
Can we hire you?
Yeah, right. You just got like 25 seconds.
Real quick, why is it called Space4Lease?
Well, I was going to dive into that, but I didn't want to keep rambling.
Go for it.
Kind of the idea behind, we didn't want to dive into a specific genre. We didn't, you know, when you think of Space4Lease, I mean, you have no idea what to expect from us. You know what I mean? So I love that idea of, you know, putting out records. We put out this record, High Wreath. We come out with the next record, whenever that case may be. And people still don't know exactly the direction we're going to take. So it kind of leaves this anticipation for like, you know, what's the next move? Yeah. You know? So I think Space4Lease, it was kind of this idea of let's not put ourselves in a certain, let's not box ourselves in all at once. Let's kind of leave this open. And that's, you know, Walt and I were driving to the studio one day. I was like a sophomore? No, I was a freshman, second semester.
Sure.
And we were literally just driving to the studio, saw a sign on the side of the road, Space4Lease, and it just really hit on me because I was like, we were trying to find, because we had this sound that we were developing.
We had songs.
We had plenty of songs.
Yeah.
But we didn't know what's the right name to capture this.
Sure.
You know, and I think it's like this idea of like, you know, no matter what we're doing, you know, there's always going to be room to grow.
Yeah.
You know, not to be fucking corny, but Space4Lease.
Yeah.
You know, there's always going to be this room to grow, and not even as a musician, but just as a person.
Yeah.
You know, so that was kind of that idea behind all that was like, you know, let's leave this like super open and vague in a way where we kind of can take the direction we want with the band and not feel the pressure to like maybe, you know, change the name if we had to or something. If we were, you know,
it's still you know,
right?
And I'm not sure if it was like a good thing or not, but when it is now because we love it this way. But when we did that, and we were driving in the car and we saw that, and we were like, yeah, that'd be cool. But we had been trying so hard to find a band name that we were like second guessing ourselves. We were just like, we've been trying so hard. This isn't the one. Then we got to the studio because that's where we were going, and the people that were helping us in the studio were like, yeah, you should do that one. That should be your name. That should be it. So it was like a little bit of reassurance, and it went a really long way. And, you know, I think it worked out for us.
Yeah, and we've definitely, it's, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, if we can hold on to it and make it our own, it could really, like, turn out to be a beneficial thing. Like, we, of course, like, get flack. Like, there's nothing more worse than, you know, going to a town that you've never been in and the people love your music and they're asking what your name is and you have to say it like 4 times to them.
Yeah.
Like, because we'll say Space4Lease and Space4Lease? Space4Lease. Like, you know, there's just all these different things that like that.
So here's a test for you podcast listeners. If I walked up to you and said Space4Lease, I said, what? Space4Lease. Like space, the number 4, lease, all one word. You'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me if you caught that right there. You know, hit us up on Facebook or something and let us know. But it's tough, but also once they ask so many times and you really put it in front of their face,
they won't forget.
They don't, and it's cool. But we've also caught some flag where people are like, "Oh, it'll never sell," and we're like, "You watch us."
We've played shows where I remember playing a show and this dude yells out, "What's your name?" And I go, "We're Space4Lease." He goes, "That name sucks." I'm just like, "Thank you. This next song's a new one." You know, like I mean, so there's all types of characters out there, man. And honestly, like you're gonna find people that love your stuff. You're gonna find people that don't care at all.
Yeah.
And far in between, you know. I mean, but it's just a matter of like remaining you and staying on your course and not letting complete strangers that you don't even know the names of kind of like alter your future or, you know, like mess with your mind like that. You just kind of remain yourself and remain on your course and, you know, take the good with the bad and roll with it, you know.
And at the same time, like, should you really trust a random drunken stranger to hear you correctly anyways?
But tell me why the hell we care so much too, you know? Like, as an artist, like, shit, this guy is drunk as hell. He's, you know, he's 3 rows back and he's saying our band name sucks. He doesn't even know who I am. Why is this guy getting at me? And, you know, the other people that are enjoying our stuff, you know, I kind of like block them out and just see this one dude that dislikes me or, you know, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. We need to learn to heckle the heckler.
Yeah, troll. That is technically calling trolling.
Yeah. And I mean, I get that enough. Like, one, my name is Santiago Ramones, and so it's like, spell that.
Right. It's a lot. It's a mouthful.
And then the name of this podcast is Bit Depth, which is like you don't hear that well.
I like it, dude.
Bit depth.
Yeah, say that 5 times fast.
It's original, man. I like it.
Toy boat.
Yeah. Well, it's a pun, really, because the point of the podcast is to have like deeper conversations. So the podcast gets a bit deep.
And dude, I love podcasts. I love that where it's like you kind of like. I mean, we are a band. We're talking about music, but we can kind of step out of that realm where it's not just music. You know, there's other things that are going on that we could also discuss that can still come back, you know, full circle to music. But yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, I mean, going with like expanding beyond music is that, I mean, so like I said earlier, another part of this podcast is to explore sort of where you are spiritually or what that is to you. So, what do you believe in God?
Yes. I believe in God. What is God to you? What is God? I'll ask you, and then I'll go from your answer.
Man, I mean, it's always tough whenever people ask me because this is my podcast and I've explained it a few times already. Right. But I
want to hear it.
I'm an atheist.
Are you really? Ooh, cool. No, I like that.
Yeah. Okay, and
I'm not saying I'm an atheist, but I respect it. You know?
Yeah, and I'm kind of an atheist to the point of like anti-theist. I won't attack people on like, I'm not one of those guys that just like anytime anyone mentions God, I'll be like, oh, there is no God, because nobody wants to hear that, and I like having friends. Yeah. So
I feel that.
I'll kind of like, you know, I'll say for myself that it's like, I don't really know, to tell you the truth, and it's like it's one of those things that's and I think that's it. I think it's like I'm not going to be able to tell. And I grew up in a place where religion is such a huge thing, and it's like very pushed onto you. Luckily, my parents didn't do that, although they would be like, come on, let's go to church, let's do this. Like, you know, they would talk about God, they want to pray at dinner and all this stuff. But like, you know, I kind of have a weird correlation. I wouldn't say correlation, I wouldn't even say connection, but this weird relationship with the word God. It's like the universe came from somewhere.
Sure.
I don't know if it was a person. I don't know if it was a cognitive being. I don't know if it was anything with consciousness. But I think there's this overlying energy within what we are and who we are that it makes no sense, and we'll never be able to figure it out. And maybe, I have this funny thought that we're going to die, and it's like they're going to put us in a theater and show us everything we need to know all at once. Right. And that's God. Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, shit, tell me the answers. Come on. Where we at? Like, I had to leave this long for that? No. I don't know though. Like for me, it's like I want to believe that there's some reason.
Sure.
And like if I was to say I created this thing so it could be exactly like this and it would be just like that for every single person, but the universe isn't that way. But the energy came from somewhere. But it's like I can't put the word God to that, and I think that's what gets me a lot is when people are pressing hard with God this and God that, and I know God and I talk to God, and it's like, well, I've heard some funny things, and I don't like to sound like I'm hating on anybody or being rude by any means, because like I will never get on to anybody for the way they believe, but I hate it when it's like, well, God told me to do this.
Sure.
And it's like, well, God's never talked to me. And I hate to say that. Like I really don't like saying that,
or even back, dude, I mean, and I was in the same boat, man. Like I didn't know.
Yeah.
And here I am, a 13-year-old kid going to a Baptist church, and people are telling me that, the fact that I was baptized as an infant means that I'm not truly saved, and all this weird shit, and and I have youth pastors who get paid to teach these things, telling me that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So at a very young age, man, it threw me for a loop on just exactly what God was and what's the appropriate way to teach people about being a good person.
Sure.
And using, whatever religion, the Bible, whatever it is, in the right way for people, and not using it as a way that's like super, just like this one road. I woke up today and I made it to work on time, and there was this lady.
Thank God.
Yeah, and there's this lady out there, and God just made me feel that I really needed to give her money, and I was like, man, I mean, I guess if that's what makes you happy, but there's a lot of different ways to look at it, and I don't think there's really one right way. And to say that there is one right way to look at it is super naive in the society that we're living in right now. You know what I mean?
Socrates looks down upon you if you know the answer.
And also, if God is a real thing, he's a real person, at the end of the day, we can go talk to him when we deteriorate or whatever. Like, is God going to be like, is he going to be happy that someone used his name and his like his whatever he is to force people to do something or to act a certain way or be like, you're not a good person because you're not doing what God wants? And maybe God's like, fuck you, bro. That's not what I want. Like, I didn't write that book. Who wrote that book? Did you write that book? No, you didn't write that book.
13 or 14 dudes.
And I don't want to go down that trail, but I don't like it when people try to like press that on me, because like, you don't know God. I don't know God. We don't know God. And what if, to me, God is a word. It's not something that anybody can put a pin on.
It's a word that humans give power to.
Yeah.
And that's like, I was going to read this quote before my phone dies real quick. I'm a huge fan of Herbert Reeves, who's this philosopher. He says, man is the most insane species. He worships an invisible God and slaughters a visible nature without realizing that this nature he slaughters is the invisible God he worships. So reading, for me, like, when I read that, and I posted that like years ago, and I've kept it in my phone for a while. But I see God in that sense, man. That God's kind of in this in nature, the way that we, our DNA structure, and you look at a tree's kind of DNA structure, and then just the way that everything in life is super similar in a way.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like there's this deeper connection that we as humans have on this planet, and the fact that we sit here and we argue about, who God really is while we're, arguably destroying the planet, it makes us all feel kind of shitty and like hypocrites. You know what I mean? Like, you're coming out and trying to teach the word of God, but at the same time, what truly are you benefiting to society besides telling other people how, they may need to live their lives. And I am not hating on, religion at all. I think, certain people find good things in religion. Mm-hmm. I just think always for me, there was just this deeper sense of, I don't know if it was like, I remember sitting there and reading and listening to stories of the Bible, and even at like 11 and 12, and just being like, how is that even a reality? Sure. Am I a shithead for thinking that really didn't happen? Am I going to hell because I sat there and hear, freaking, you sit there and think about Noah's Ark, how like he loaded two of every animal into this thing, and I'm sitting there, and you see it in a visual sense of like a 12-year-old kid, where you're like, did that really? How does that happen? And you start questioning all these like realities of how how these things could happen, and you're just like, and then you start. I was always in that sense of like, well, am I wrong at looking at it like this? Am I wrong at like thinking this deeply? Mm-hmm. And I think coming from a small town, man, where you had a lot of people that, fell into these big churches like this, that when you thought a little differently, mm-hmm. you were kind of seen as this weird outcast. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that kind of really took a toll on me at first. Yeah. Because, you have friends and such that go to these places, and because maybe you see things a little differently, like you kind of lose touch with your friends and things, and then you start realizing like, or questioning, is it me? And then you kind of go on these adventures of like trying to find yourself and find out what it is, what am I trying to prove here? What am I trying to show the world? What am I trying to influence? Yeah. And I think like with religion and God and all that, it's if the Bible teaches anything, man, which it may not be the only way to live your life, right? But what it teaches can never really be wrong. The stories that it tells about, just doing more for others than you do for yourself, mm-hmm. no matter what religion you come from, how is that ever wrong? Yeah. You know what I mean? How is that ever a wrong thing to do? Yeah. And so I think those are the things that you need to take from, these stories and of the Bible, and not take things. We're moving in this society where it's like we're all becoming a little more smarter about the way like we see these things, and not taking everything so literally. Yeah. Kind of seeing it, figuratively speaking, and how mm-hmm. you can,
take it out of context.
Yeah, there's metaphors for things, and there's deeper meaning than just like, just the stories that that you're reading, and trying to see it in this like super visual aspect. There's, I think as a society, we're moving to that period where we're becoming better than that. We're seeing it for what it is. Definitely. And we're expanding on it, and we're growing, and there's at times there's a lot. I mean, you look at the world today, and there's a lot of bad shit that is occurring that revolves a lot around religion. Yeah. But at the same time, man, there can be a lot of good that comes from it. Yeah. If you teach it in the right way, and you teach it for I think the appropriate way to teach young kids. I went to Haiti on a mission trip, right? Sure. It was IYF, International Youth Fellowship, and I thought we were teaching English, right? Because would I consider myself a religious guy? Sure, that's my answer to that. But I didn't know how serious. So I show up in this camp in New York, this training camp, and everybody there is from South Korea. Huh. Like me and my homie are the only, like, one of, like, it was a small fraction of us that were actually speaking English. Yeah. And then what I kind of come to figure, and I'm not trying to bash on this if they ever listen to this podcast for any reason.
Oh, whatever.
But just the way that when we went to Haiti and were teaching people about the Bible, I didn't agree with it. Yeah. I didn't agree with the way that we were, teaching these Haitian kids that didn't know any better. Yeah. And, these people were super literal about every story that was occurring. Yeah. I remember, our own preacher was sitting there talking about how his wife didn't want to have, or wanted to have a natural birth, even though it wasn't healthy. Even though multiple doctors told her, this is not good for you to have a natural birth. And they said, but we just talked to God. We went to God, and God told us that this is what we needed to do. Sure. And those stories just like that, that's what gives religion a bad name. Yeah. Is when you start using your own personal influence and saying, God did this for me, because you have a bunch of kids here learning these things from you and learning it for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. So I was always, it was a weird scenario for me to be in that place. Mm-hmm. And, it really opened my eyes on, how I wanted to be as a person and how I kind of wanted maybe people to see me when it came to those aspects of religion and, of God in general. So,
like, to you, what does it mean to be a good person?
Like I said, be genuine, be yourself. Like we just met, you know what I mean? But I'm being as real to you as I, there's no bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter, if it's who it is, if you be yourself to the best of your ability, no matter, what part of your day you're in, if you're having a shitty day or, and you're meeting strangers, and even though, meeting a stranger, or, it could be some homeless dude on the street that you walk by and you just say hey to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those are qualities for me that define a good person, Yeah. Doing things purely on the simplicity of not doing it for yourself, but doing it for others, Yeah. So people find, that was like an example would be my coach in basketball used to hate me so much because I would pass the ball too much, because I was so enthused with letting somebody else get that fulfillment of like scoring a basket that I got in trouble for it. Yeah. I would get yelled at because instead of me taking that shot that was, easier, I would give it to somebody else because I wanted them, So, if you take that on a day-to-day basis or in everyday life, where it was like, I want to give somebody that just feeling of like goodness, that there's people out there that are cool, and it's not such a dark world that sometimes people might see it as, and I think when you do that, you really find good things coming back your way. Yeah. It might take time, and it might not always be just because you do good things for other people, regardless of the shape or size, it might be opening a door for an old lady coming into a store or whatever, just small things like that, you might not see those in return. Yeah. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I think that's what's the biggest part about it is you don't do it hoping that somebody does it for you one day. You just do it because you feel like it's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what my parents had always taught me. And that's where I learned that from. And so being a good person, that's really kind of where I see that.
Yeah. And that goes beyond religion. That goes beyond just
that God. Breaks down the walls of religion. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It really does, which is like where I come back to you being an atheist, where it's just like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I respect, like, even though we might have disagreements, or that doesn't mean that we have to be enemies. No. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, it's just going to take time with society to figure that out, that just because we disagree, it doesn't mean that we have to be enemies, you know? So, and I think, there's so many different things that we could apply that to. Yeah. With religion, with politics. Look at our election, bro. Look at our election. There's so many different things. But there's also so many different influences that come into play where, money and power and these things where religion, where, those things, they become more important now because you have something to lose, like money or power. So you kind of can be a little more bitter.
What would you like to see change in society?
I could
be a beauty pageant. Really hard questions,
right? I could be a beauty pageant contest, or like one of those chicks, Miss America, and just.
But the difference is that you mean it.
Yeah, world hunger, no more world hunger. Education, free education for all.
I'll say for me, the big thing is just possessions and attitudes and selflessness or selfishness. Sure. To me, it's I wish it wasn't so hard to get a lot of these things out of the way. Mm-hmm. And back to what he was talking about, seeing a homeless person on the street saying hello. Well, what if I was that homeless person, a rich guy walked by and told me, didn't pay me mind? But what if a rich person, someone with all the possessions in the world, walked by had on normal clothes like you and I sitting here and sat down and had the best conversation. And then later I find out all these things, and it's like I just wish the world would operate like that at times, where it's like I want it's not that hard, but it's also not that easy for everyone to be on the same playing field.
Sure.
There's just way too much that goes into everything. But it's like, we just, like you said, we just met you. And sometimes, we'll meet industry people with music. Like I say, sometimes we'll go full circle. Or we'll meet people that are big, like preachers or religious fanatics or not religious fanatics or atheists or this and that. But they, like, just to get yourself to this level playing ground and don't let any bullshit get in the way.
Yeah.
It's like, that's all I hope for the world.
Right.
And like, and just give me the time of day for who I am, not for what I have.
Right. And even that, to the point, I think my parents taught me well, and I would speak for Walt too, never meet a stranger. Never look at somebody as a stranger.
Yeah.
Always meet somebody and be, enthusiastic and,
For real.
And optimistic, and I guess. And for me, dude, I think the one thing I would want to see change is education. The way that we educate ourselves.
Sure.
And not even in our country or in our state. I mean, golly. I mean, teachers don't get paid shit here, bro. And then they just hop over the border down to Texas, and you could make a living.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. I mean, even in within our own state, but even outside of our country. I mean, you look at third world Africa, third world India, where they just don't have the tools, or even Haiti, where they don't have the education or the mindset to know any better about the world, the reality that's around them. They're stuck on this island, and you have these. We come in here. I remember, dude, driving down the streets on these we call them toot-toots. And you're on these top of these buses, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, you just have Haitians flipping you off, telling you like, "Fuck you, dude, go home." Like speaking English at you. Yeah. And you can't. They speak like this. It's like a slang of French called Creole. Mm-hmm. But what I started realizing, and that is that these people aren't dumb. These people are speaking English. They're speaking 3 languages, and I'm stuck here trying to teach English. Yeah. There's education in different aspects, but I think it's just the way that they can get education, the way that it can get to them. The truth, and a lot of that comes with money and empowerment. But I think if there was one thing that I would really want to change, is just the whole structure of just the way we teach and the way we learn. Sure. Especially in America, especially in Oklahoma. Yeah.
What is it that you wish that you had gotten whenever you were in school?
Shorter hours. I mean, you look over in Sweden, dude, they teach like 3 hours a day. It's like 3 to 5 hours, to their elementary and middle school kids. They come into school and they learn for 3 to 5 hours. And it's like, I think it's like 4 days a week. So they have 3-day weekends, and you're going to school for like think of how much more prone you would be to be excited to go in and learn things if you're only going to be there for 4 to 5 hours. As opposed to waking up Monday through Friday going, damn.
Got to go back to prison.
8 to 3, same thing every day. Here's my schedule. I think kids pick up on that quick, man. Yeah. I mean, when you get to high school, you start realizing like, damn, this is just the same thing over, and there's no mix up. So I guess that's one thing for me.
I wish there was more time for like mentorships, and not just like seeking out a mentor and be like every school should give you a mentor, but also just being able to have a teacher or someone, or also like for our situation, we go to an art school, a music school. Mm-hmm. Where I'm from, they would have never said, "Hey, go check out the music school." Yeah. They would be like that. They wouldn't like put it down, but they wouldn't turn an eye to it.
Yeah, my school would be like but what are you doing athletically? Like sports was like the one thing. It was just like, I don't even know if like at times, like if you were an athlete at our school, you had so many benefits that normal fucking kids never gotten. I remember and I was prone to that, man. I saw it because I was on the right side of that, I remember, and this is, it's way back in the day, but I hit this buzzer beater for this area game. And my principal comes up to me after the game and says, "Man, you don't even have to come to school. Like you can show up, like you can be like 3 hours late tomorrow. I don't even care." Oh my. And it's like, what? And I mean, I'm exactly. I mean, it was like you can totally be late to class tomorrow, and I totally was late to class that next day. You know what I mean? I used that to my advantage.
Yeah.
But when you see that now looking back, it was just like you see how wrong that mentality is about where our mindsets are. You know, you get so caught up in small town stuff like that, man, where it's like you don't see outside of that town.
Yeah.
Sports is just like, you know, and some kids have the benefit to take that to the next level.
Sure.
But I mean, you look at the handful of kids that are coming from these small schools that are playing, you know, D3, D2 ball, whatever the case may be, you know, it's like you really, really, really got to love doing that.
Sure.
To go play, you know, D2 college basketball, football, baseball, and not be on that same scale of like D1 where it's getting that national publicity and all these things, you know, because that's what everybody strives for, but you don't really get that. But I think, you know, at our school, and I love my town, and I love my school to death. Like, I don't want them thinking that like I'm bashing on them or anything, because I'm not. But because it's not just my school; it's the reality.
Well,
I mean, you look at like
it's
any
the mentality.
the mentality in any school, really. I mean, and I'm not saying athletics is bad, but I don't think kids need to be focusing on, you know, their future, you know, based solely on sports. You know, like I want to play. Like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a, you know. God, people probably hate on me for saying that, but like I want to be a professional basketball player, you know. But like, it's just a game, bro. Like, there's so much more to this life than just playing a game, you know. And I mean, and you can use that. I mean,
you can use it for good.
You can use it for good, and you can. And I mean, I'm not saying it's not inspirational, and it definitely was inspirational for me, and it's made me who I am today. But I think now with our, you know, it's at times it just gets taken way too out of hand. I mean, you look at. I mean, just like the NFL Network now, dude, where you can sit on a fucking television and watch like 6 games at one time. Like, how crazy is that? You know what I mean? It's just like, at times, it's just like, it feels like it's too much. It just really feels like there's just, you know, we just need to kind of take a step back, you know, and if there was anything I could have learned, you know, or anything I could have done as a kid, I would have totally loved to learn, like, kickboxing. Or some jiu-jitsu or just some type of fighting that everyday people could use. You know, if I got caught up in an alleyway with some homies that, you know, that are trying to whoop my ass, I could use those skills in everyday life, as opposed to if I'm playing basketball every day and all I do, you know what I'm saying? I put a ball in a hoop and I get caught on that same alleyway, you know, you might not be really prone to fucking be able to defend yourself.
Exactly.
So I think, like, I've really picked that up as like, man, if there's anything I should have been learning as a kid or in high school, I probably should have been learning to, like,
self-defense.
Exactly. You know, and that
it also teaches you a lot of self-defense and stuff. Also teaches you a lot about like thinking, consciousness, the mind, being mindful of yourself, mindful of others, and that's a beautiful thing. And sports sometimes isn't that much, because if you're on a basketball team and you're not the star, then you're not getting the rock, kid.
Yeah. Right.
But if you are the star, don't give up the rock, kid.
And that's that. And I'm telling you, that's that small town. That's that small town thing, man. Where it's like, I've seen it happen. Where, like, you know, your kid's not the star.
How are we gonna get championships?
Yeah.
Grayson, you got it.
But dude, I'm serious. Like, I remember like parents coming down and be like, "Man, why isn't my son playing? You know, why is my because your son sucks, yo. Like, your son, like your boy needs to be on the bench, like." And it's like you get people that get so caught up with that, you know, with ego and, you know, this.
Has he tried preaching?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Right. I mean, it's just like there's so many, and there's just there's so many different things that you can learn. I think, like, me too, man, being like in marching band and having to march. I hated it, you know, because it wasn't the cool thing to do. But what I did start learning in band was theory. I started learning, you know, how to read discipline, how to read music. Yeah. And these skills that I can apply, you know, for the rest of my life. When I'm 95 years old, I hopefully can still sit down at a piano and play something. When I'm 95 years old, I'm not going to be able to go dunk a basketball, or, you know, I can't dunk now, of course, but to shoot a basketball, I'm not going to be able to do those things. So I started, you know, now that I've gotten older and gone to these schools, like, I've realized, like, these are the things that I'm going to really be able to do for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
And I find enjoyment in that, and I find a certain light of fulfillment to carry on that, you know.
Okay, so last question is hopefully a little bit short, and then you can play a song for us.
Oh no. What are we playing?
Oh,
Pew pew pew.
So the last question is, what advice do you have for people? Well, Walt's got something.
I'm going. Yeah, you go first.
I'm going short and sweet, baby.
I'm not going short. I'm about to preach.
Follow your dreams. Listen to who you want to listen to, and there's always good information to come out of just about anything, whether it's the complete opposite of what they're telling you. It could be that, but just go after how you feel. There's the thing inside you that helps you make decisions, and a lot of the time listening to it got me where I am now.
Yeah.
I could have still been in a different university, living a completely different life, but I'm not, and I'm very happy for that. And it's because I made those decisions, and I decided to follow what I wanted to do, and I didn't let things bring me down and people telling me that that's not a normal part of life. That's not what everybody does. Good luck. You're one in a million that try it. Good luck. So I don't know. It's like, take those chances, man. You only live once. And when we die, who knows? Maybe they'll put you in a movie theater and tell you everything you want to know. God, please do that for me. But I don't.
Just for me.
I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'm getting the premiere streaming.
Special.
Called it. Yep, that's what I got.
Advice for man. To always just be yourself, man. I think to embrace yourself for who you are. Don't try to fit in with any niche. Don't try to fit in with people that you don't fit in with. I remember being younger, dude, and you would have you would be attracted to some girls or something, and you would find ways that you would not be yourself to maybe impress them. And that's just a small example, and you realize you're not really yourself. And I promise you, when you do those things don't really work out in your favor.
Yeah.
You find ways or life finds ways to hurt you when you kind of disconnect yourself from your actual reality of who you are. So I think for kids that are growing up, I mean, you look at kids that are getting bullied or kids that are, just struggling, trying to find a way, trying to, that feel like they're not shit in the world because they don't maybe have these unique skill sets or anything. But I'm telling you, there is uniqueness in everybody. And it's a matter of just being completely genuine to everybody.
Yeah.
And that sounds super corny, but I mean, I really feel that if you can just be as good as you can be, and be yourself day to day, that by the end of your life, you might not make as much money as some people. You might not achieve certain things as most people, but I promise to God that by the end of it all, if you try your best to live that way, you will find happiness in ways that you never saw it coming. Because this life is so long, and there's so many different mountains that you climb, and it's a roller coaster ride, dude. And there's so many new experiences that you don't see coming, and and bad shit happens along the way. A lot more than good, a lot of bad stuff can happen to you before one little good thing can happen to you. But it's just a matter of through it all, being yourself still, not letting those things change you, and just remaining genuine for the sake of just being genuine. Not for any fulfillment that you're feeling that you could get later down the line, but just because that's the right thing to do at the right moment in time, no matter what the case may be, So that would be my advice for kids, and especially young kids, man, growing up, because I was there. I got bullied. I got picked on. Everybody loved to laugh at me. It was one of those things where, parents put me in Boy Scouts, and I'm an Eagle Scout, and all your homies, you got to wear your Scout shirt to school on the Monday that you're having meetings, and you got to tuck your shirt in, and you're the only kid there, and everybody's looking at you like you're an idiot. I mean, it's a real thing, and being a scout was probably one of the greatest things that I've achieved in my life. So I think, and that's what I'm saying is if I would have ran with the world at that moment, if I would have let those kids affect me the way they did, even though they didn't really know it, if I would have said, screw this, I don't want to do scouts anymore. I'm gonna run with the rest of the world so I fit in right now, as opposed to being myself and just overcoming those obstacles. I wouldn't have been the person that I am today.
Yeah,
I wouldn't see the world that I see, the way I see it today. So I think that's what kids really need to know is, be yourself and embrace and be happy that you are, yourself. Don't let, other people try to bring you down because you might not have certain possessions or whatever the case may be. There's a complete uniqueness that each one of us carry. It's so cool how we're all so similar, but at the same time we're all so different.
Yeah.
And we all have our own uniqueness, so that would be my advice, is just to always, stay on that course of just being yourself and don't run with the world.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Did I ramble on?
Oh no, you're good. I feel inspired. I hope everyone is inspired.
Just kidding.
And so plug your things. I'm gonna do like a quick outro thing, and then you can play your song. Yeah.
So we have our release show of our EP High Wreath on November 5th at Opolis. And then you can find us, of course, on Facebook, Instagram, Space4Lease on Facebook, Space4Lease Music on Instagram and on Twitter. And then I'll let Walt kind of discuss the tour because Walt does all the booking. He's a great guy, everybody. Walt Blythe.
Hey, it's me, Walt Blythe. Some call me Walter. So we're hitting the road afterwards. We're doing the Opolis show. And then November 10th, we're going to a new territory, Mr. Big Ol' Chicago. Going to go check out the Bean. Hope the Cubs win just because they haven't forever. I don't care about baseball. But, so we're going to Chicago. Then we're going to be in Bloomington, Indiana. Cool town, really cool town, at a place called the Back Door. We will then be in Cincinnati. After that, Newport, Kentucky, right across the river. Asheville, North Carolina, which is everyone says it's great. Never been there either, so we're stoked for that. Joe Rogan says it's great. He says, you know what? I shouldn't talk about Asheville because people don't need to know about this place. They'll fucking ruin it. So I'm gonna trust his word, and I'm that guy that's going.
Definitely going there.
But yeah, then we'll be in Nashville, Tennessee, and then we're gonna end it off in Memphis with some buddies in a band called Warm. They're really cool. And then we'll be back home to work on some new music, man. We already got new things pumping.
Excellent. And we can find all those dates on your Facebook, on your
website, Facebook,
Awesome.
www.space4leasemusic.com. And then they're also on Facebook. We'll keep you Instagram through all the. We'll keep you updated through all the Instagrams.
Insta.
Damn it.
Third time's the charm.
Cool. And I'm Santiago Ramones. You can find all the stuff that I do. I make music. That's on SoundCloud, but you can find all the stuff that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com.
Thank you, man.
And I always end the podcast with my 3 things, my sort of bit of advice, life philosophy, which is love never fails. It's going to be okay. I might be wrong. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Play us out, man.
I still tried. Can we put that in there first? Can that stay? All right, here we go. Talking in circles again. Hanging on by what you would call a thread. You say you're tired of feeling broken and so alone. You say it's easier for you to feel nothing, no, nothing at all. But I still tried calling what was I thinking? But honestly, I miss your voice from time to time. Just laying here thinking that if you just pick up the phone and come on over, we'll talk for a little while, have a discussion over just what we think we need. And if I say anything you don't want to talk about, well, that's too tough, darling. Yes, that's too tough, darling. I know I'm not what you'd expect, 'cause you weren't expecting anything from anyone at all. But if you pick up your feet, oh, I'll pick up the pieces for you. But how it's so much easier to watch this all just fall through. But I still tried calling, but here was I thinking I should have never have picked up that phone. But these bottled emotions, but I let it all go. I tell you how I feel, you don't seem to care. And I guess there's no point to talking about it now. She's wondering just what it is that I'm thinking. Just what it is that I'm thinking.